Hey, what's up? It's Kevin Rogers. Welcome to Copy Chief Radio, brought to you by copychief.com. See how that works? Let's get into it. Hey, everybody, what's up? It's Kev Rogers here with my good friend, James Schramko. What's happening, James?
Just hanging out in the Philippines, Kevin.
Yeah, 12 hours apart. It's 8 a.m. here in St. Petersburg, Florida, 8 p.m. where you are in the Philippines, and you have a house in the Philippines now.
Yep, I come here quite often. I've got team here, and I now have family, so it's fun living in two places.
Yeah, in different cultures, obviously. Your home is in Sydney, where you like to surf at least once a day. In the Philippines, it's a different pace. There's different technological capabilities. You were telling me that it helps you sort of get focused, get work done. You have less distraction. And when you go back home to Sydney, you are in constant appreciation of the things you have there. So it sounds like a nice balance.
Yeah, I think travel broadens the mind. It gives you perspective. So you know how sometimes we use metaphors or analogies to explain things. It's like when you're seeing two versions of something, you get to compare and benchmark. It's kind of like having a real life split test of living conditions. Imagine if you had two cars, two houses, two sets of clothes, two surfboard quivers, two offices. You've got two appliances. So like I'm even able to compare things, and it's just you notice stuff that you wouldn't normally notice if you're just in it. So you get outside it and switch. Yeah. So I think it's been quite marvelous.
Yeah, that perspective is huge. And you've got your family there now, like you said. It's all very exciting, man. So I want to quickly show something cool that happened to come up in my Facebook memories today. You and I, 7 years ago together. Can you see that?
Yes. I think we've somehow improved our appearance. I'm not sure how. Maybe lucky John Carlton doesn't look any older. He already looks old in that picture.
Yeah, you and I somehow both look healthier, I think, and more in control.
Yeah, very different life back then. That's in Phoenix.
Yeah, what do you remember when you look at that about your life 7 years ago? This is before the latest book.
Very different.
Yeah, lots of things were different then.
Very different. Pre-surfing, I lived on 5 acres on a farm. We had horses and dogs, and had an AMG sports car. Had SEO business and a website business, and basically had a lot running on. And I was working. I was used to stay up till 3 in the morning and then sleep until 11 o'clock. And just everything was so different. Then after that, I moved to the beach, took up surfing. I tend to go to bed earlier and then wake up earlier. Of course, my kids now are different ages. I've got mature kids and also a baby kid. So yeah, I don't feel like they were the times. I feel like now is actually the best time in my life, which is a great thing to have. And it was just a part of that journey.
Yeah, man. And you are the reason we're doing this video, among the fact that we're friends, and it's always great to jam together. And you've been my personal business coach and mentor for over 5 years now, James. Pretty incredible.
Wow.
Certainly the longest time that I've been with one coach, and it's been a real privilege. I'm always happy to, we're talking about Copy Chief Live today, which you'll come all the way from Australia to speak at the event, which I'm thrilled about. I was able to come speak at your event a few years back. There would be no Copy Chief Live. There would be no Copy Chief if not for your guidance and that fateful Facebook message I sent you so many years ago where I had a good problem to solve and you taught me a really good way to solve it. So thank you for all that.
Well, thank you. And it's just such a pleasure to have a laugh every week or when we chat and to have watched these things get born.
Yeah.
I was speaking to someone today and I'm helping them put together their first big event. This is a well-trodden path. I've been running events for 10 years. And the reason I want to come to Copy Chief Live is I know it's one of the absolute pinnacle events in the entire industry. It's a special event. And you've curated it so carefully, and I admire what you've done with it. And it's worth traveling to come all the way there. It's going to be such a great experience.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's one of the amazing privileges to just look at the addresses of people coming and meet people there who every year have come from Australia, Singapore, the Netherlands, all over Asia. It's just, wow, man, to think that, you know how it is, James, and you told me this would be the case. It's one thing to have a community that is strong and where people meet and form relationships. Getting all those people in a room together over 3 days is, I mean, my hair is literally standing up thinking about it. It's incredibly emotional for everybody. It really is an experience. And for me, I feel an obligation to make it as fun as possible. And I know you do this too at your events. Give everybody a lot of space between the speakers and everything to just have fun together and talk in the hall. This is not an ass-numbing event. Like, I don't force people to be in a chair from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And look, you know, everybody knows when you go to a conference, there's that point where your brain, I always say, like, my sponge is leaking. My sponge is full. I imagine like this great information coming into my brain and it's just like leaking out of my ears because I can't ingest any more great information. You know what I mean? And it's like a waste, man. It's like, let me go get some air and have a beer with my new friends.
It's the magic of the bonding. It's the connection. That's what it is. And copywriters, especially, that group that you hang around with, I think you're more emotional than normal people.
We are.
You need to be to do a good job. You have to feel the customer's pains and you have to get connected to it. You have to understand them and empathize. I think you're like kinesiologists in a way where you have to take on the customer's poison and toxin to be able to deal with it, and like a snake handler. And I think that would be something to experience. So I think that's why you'd have such strong connection. When you bring those emotional people together and get emotional, I'm sure you shed a few tears of joy and laughter. And in fact, I remember some late night antics in Phoenix where that photograph was taken, that there were many a tear of laughter. Yes. There were songs made.
Songs were made, that's right.
Songs were made. There was an incident relating to Joe Polish's electric vehicle. There was all sorts of things went down that you can't experience that behind your computer, sitting in your office, wherever you are. You've got to get out and interact.
Yeah, and it's, again, the reason that, I mean, you've literally changed my life in many ways, certainly changed my business, my career, and it's because you and I met at John Carlton's Action Seminar even before that photo was taken, and didn't know each other well. I knew you well enough to know when I needed answers, you're the person who came to mind, who I felt comfortable had those answers, and then here we are. So I want to talk about your book. We've already, done a podcast on this, but I wanted to point out that I subconsciously wore my James Schramko cover uniform today. Right there, I got the shirt, and man, this book, Work Less, Make More. Here's the thing about it that I love is that this premise has been covered by others before, right? We know 4 Hour Work Week and other books like that, but to me, this is the one with the clearest instruction. It's a nice mix, dude, of personal stories, inspiration, but like, there's no way you can read this book and not know what to do to try to achieve a life of independence and self-sufficiency. So congratulations on the book. I know it's the best-selling business book on Amazon in Australia. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's often number one in the new business enterprises category. I also have to acknowledge Kelly Exeter, who helped me put that together, because my biggest challenge was taking all that stuff off the sponge and getting it into words. We had too much material. We had to cut a lot. And I'm sure you're familiar with that process where you have so much content and you have to cut it down. That's why we wanted to focus on being actionable. And of course, we had to put in some stories to make it relatable and to see how the story unfolds so that you can think, okay, how does that apply to me? And there is also floating around a workbook which summarizes every action step in that book. I think it's free to get on my website. There's no opt-in or anything, actually. I should fix that.
Oh, really? Wow.
But you've got a vintage copy there with the me on the cover. I anticipated someone might wear a similar T-shirt and start passing off as me, so I've changed the cover to just words now. Big words.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
It's got a little ocean backdrop. So hang on to that thing. It's surprised. Wow,
I will.
Signed
and it's signed. So
wow,
this is my ticket, man. Like when everything else crumbles to the ground, that's my ace in the hole right there on eBay.
You got it. Lock that thing up.
You know what's even better than listening to a conversation with people who are leading the industry in marketing and copywriting? Having conversations with them and being surrounded by like all the best ones, all the coolest people. It happens once a year at Copy Chief Live. In 2019, the dates are October 28, 29, and then the special Freelancers Only Day on October 30th. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. Copychief.live, copychief.live. Come check out the speaker lineup and how you can get in on $500,000 in new contracts between clients and copywriters at this event, copychief.live.
Awesome, dude. You know, I was flipping through it again this morning, and one thing I'm definitely going to have you talk about and teach at Copy Chief Live, especially for my freelancers in the audience, is, and I got this from you and teach it to my freelancers, which is effective hourly rate, which is, you know, learning to do the math on what you're actually earning per hour as a freelancer. And it's the first exercise you ever had me do before we officially even started working together. And if you've never done it, it's one of those moments where it's painful to really understand your actually hourly wage, but you have to measure something to begin to improve it. And it's also fills you with optimism because it comes with a plan for how to create measurable improvements. So we want to talk a little bit about, you know, when you started using that and what effect it has on people when you walk them through it.
Well, funnily, most people start using it before they know what it is, when they have a job. Almost everyone with a job could tell you their hourly wage. And almost no business owner can tell you their hourly wage because they haven't worked it out. I worked out what my wage was, which was close to $300,000 a year. And I worked out what that broke down to per hour. And then I worked out that in order for me to quit my job, I should replace that wage with the same amount. So I had to find business models where I could actually earn that hourly rate or more to replace my job. And I did a lot of study with accounting, and in the car dealerships that we were running at Mercedes-Benz, they do a lot of spreadsheets and analysis on things like throughput and efficiency and the available man hours you've got and how much of that you're selling and how much you can charge per technician and how much the customer will pay for the job and what's your profit margin. There's so many numbers. I guess I took it by osmosis. It is an accounting term, apparently, effective hourly rate, but I kind of just worked on it myself and arrived at it independently. So I'm not claiming to have invented it, but certainly a great tool once you become aware of it. And it's a really simple calculation to start with, but it's powerful when you go deeper. For example, if you're a freelancer and you work out your effective hourly rate, it starts to get fun when you work it out by different products that you offer. You might offer sales letters, you might offer testimonial stories, you might offer white papers, you might offer web page copy, and you might discover that some of the jobs pay a lot more than the other ones for every hour you work on them. And then begs the question, what if you stop doing the ones that don't pay that well and you did more of the ones that pay really well? Then all of a sudden you can actually, make more and work less. And it's true.
Yeah, it's really powerful. And this is something you and I do a couple times a year because, I have multiple programs running, things that I apply compartmentalized brain and energy to. And what's interesting is sometimes you just look at the big number, right? You just look at that gross revenue from that thing and you go, wow, that's making me the most money. I could never give that up. But then you actually look at the time and resources as a business owner now, the operating expense and whatnot that goes into that revenue. And suddenly that number just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks when you look at net. Whereas other things that I feel like take up a lot of my bandwidth because it's more emotional to me. For instance, like coaching my mastermind group of people that I coach, I'm thinking about them all the time and it's very personal to me. But if I look at the actual amount of time it takes me to earn the money that I earned from that endeavor, the EHR is through the roof. And so it's really critical to do this exercise and put it all on paper and look at it in black and white, because how it lives in reality and how it lives in our mind can be completely different things.
You'll almost always be surprised by something. For example, royalty deals or affiliate income. I still get checks from companies I promoted 10 years ago. I put no effort into promoting them anymore, and I still get paid. So the effective hourly rate for whatever I did spend 10 years ago is extreme. It's probably worth $10,000 an hour. So then I start thinking maybe I should turn on some more affiliate promotions. Right now, I'm doing royalty deals. And lots of people in the copywriting space have the potential to have a royalty back end to things. So it's worth considering, what do you actually get paid over the time of that project for the amount of time you spent on it? And then there might be some winners revealed that you kind of overlooked. You might notice a little bit of money here and there. I mean, the book's a good example. Every day people get the book and Audible, and every single month Amazon puts money into my account. But I haven't really done anything with that book except maybe talk about it occasionally for the last, it was at least a year ago since I recorded the Audible, and it was a year and a half ago since I published the book. But that book still keeps delivering an income, and it still keeps presenting me high quality lead flow for the rest of my business. So I should do another book. That's the bottom line. It is worth paying attention to when you put it up against effective hourly rate.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing about doing new stuff. Again, in measuring things, that's something you really had to teach me, because, as you mentioned, creatives, I tend to be guided by my emotions and my inspirations and things like that. And man, I've slowly nurtured my relationship with numbers.
Well, to have a relationship with them, we had to find them first. We sent out a search party, didn't we? Where does all this time go? What are you actually doing there?
It was like the missing child that I didn't really want to find. It was like the problem child. They'll come back when they're ready. Let them work it out.
Exactly.
Well, that's great, James. And, so that's one thing we're going to talk about. But the general concept of working less and making more is what we'll be discussing a lot at Copy Chief Live, along with some other incredible speakers. It's always such an honor to me to have all these people who inspire me so much come to the event and share their wisdom. And everybody at the event always gives a new talk, and nobody ever gives the canned speech that they've been honing in 20 other events. Everybody, because like you mentioned, James, like you even know all the way from Australia, from knowing me, that this is a special event. It's different. And so along with yourself, Todd Herman is coming to speak. Laura Belgray will be there. John Carlton will be there. Paris Lampropoulos will be there. Dean Jackson, our good friend Dean Jackson, will be back. And we'll actually, the other cool thing we do is case studies, right? Where I like to practice the things that I learn from my mentors and admire that people are doing in marketing. And we show case studies. Like, here's the numbers. Here's what we did that worked, that didn't work, things we innovated, things we screwed up. And it's just a really cool, fun way to not just hear the theory of these things, but see them in action and get a philosophical and tactical view of how to apply them in your business.
That's very useful and actionable. And, the other guests at the event are just phenomenal. They're so amazing. I've spoken to, I'm friends with quite a few of them actually, and I really want to come and see them. And you should come and meet these people. In fact, here's a fun fact. I think it was Dean Jackson who really alerted me to the power of recurring income. I had recurring income, but he told me how to make it work even better. And I sat with him in Detroit probably almost 10 years ago now. He goes way back to inventing an email capture. I mean, this guy is a legend in our industry. To be able to be near him in the same room is such a privilege.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And of course, I like speaking to people who come to the event and solving whatever challenges they've got in between the sessions over a coffee and a meal. Those sort of things are special.
That's my favorite part, is seeing like a member from the community and you sitting at lunch together or having a coffee or a beer and just going, wow, look at that. I mean, just chatting like friends and you getting to teach them things that you taught me 5-6 years ago that have completely changed my life. So that's another cool thing. And again, something I saw at your event, like just a lot of access. There's no barrier. There's no VIP section. There's the speakers that come back every year, like Carlton and Paris and Marcella Allison and Henry Bingaman. They were speakers the first year. They've come back every year just to be a part of it because they love the culture and they love that there's no barriers. It's just everybody hanging out and being cool together. So I appreciate you doing that and coming to play full out as you always do. So I want to respect your time. I know it's getting late there in the Philippines, and I appreciate you spending some time with me today, and I really appreciate you making this trip. I can't wait to create some new memories, all of which won't be reported in public at Copy Chief Live.
Well, that sounds perfect.
Thank you, brother, for being here. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon, brother. Thank you. Hey, you want to be on the inside of all the best converting campaigns in marketing? The latest, greatest copywriting techniques. Find out what's really working today from people out there making it work, doing the testing, getting the results, sharing with you, reverse engineering, great copywriting, plus a whole catalog of trainings to help you do everything from write better story, better email, Facebook ads, YouTube scripts. We got it all for you inside at Copy Chief. Go check out copychief.com/join to learn how to become a member. And if you'd like my free book, The 60-Second Sales Hook, where I turned a joke formula into an irresistible sales hook that you can deliver in under 60 seconds, go to 60secondsaleshook.com and grab yourself a free copy.